Oh.
Hey, Mark.
Sorry, Mark.
He was the American dream, really. I mean, he sort of embodies that, that kid who comes from absolutely nothing, raised in Tupelo, and then becomes the most famous man on the planet. And then he also embodied so many eras of time, you know. I mean, it feels like he lived 100 years, but it's amazing that he was only here for 42.
Priscilla's fashion is obviously a very well-known aspect historically of who she was, and being able to wear those costumes and to wear the hair and makeup and to really sort of embody those aspects of her was such a privilege and such an honor, and it was definitely one of the most exciting aspects of this film is, you know, the things that she's wearing and the eyelashes and the hair are so otherworldly and so unlike what we dress and what we sort of put on our faces today. It was incredible. It was so incredible, and I hope that when the movie comes out, there's a renaissance of these styles and these lashes and the big hair. I really hope that it comes back.
Vernon Presley was Elvis Presley's father, married to Gladys, and we're introduced to him in the film at an early concert of Elvis's called The Hayride, and we see these very poor people. They were very poor, they were dirt poor. People gathering around Elvis to kind of buoy him up before he goes in to do a concert, because Elvis is absolutely terrified. And so it's quite beautiful. You see this family sort of holding hands and singing a gospel song to buoy him up. And so in that moment you get an interesting, fascinating insight into their otherness and also their closeness, their connectedness to Elvis.
They adored each other, and I think he had to do a lot of reassuring. Sometimes I think he had to mother Gladys, and he was very good at talking her off the ledge. And he had to do that quite often. And at some point, to calm her down, he said, "I will phone you, I will call you. When I'm on the road, I'll call you every night." And I think he was ribbed a bit about that. But, I mean, I'm sure he didn't do it all the time, but he did it a fair old amount. He did call her. He called his mother. I think she lived for those phone calls. And then they'd come back, and I think that was all kind of good, but then he'd be off again. And so, look, I just think she found solace in the bottle and just became more and more unwell and isolated.
The Colonel knew that Elvis would never be able to stay this guy who wiggled his hips on TV and sang rock and roll songs. So that when he came back from the Army, the Colonel turned him into Dean Martin. The Colonel turned him into the remaining that great signpost for the generation that was growing up with him. And he was right. And then along with that came, you know, the movie career, for good or for bad, but nonetheless, commerce and, you know, you could say Elvis was really great in maybe 5 movies, but I'm gonna tell you right now, 3 of those movies were box office disasters, and that's what caught him. They were, you know. Everybody says, oh, the Colonel put him in all those terrible movies. The Colonel put him in movies. The Colonel didn't care what movies they were.
So Binder and Bones are producing partners, ultimately. And they have an electric energy together to be able to use the draw of breaking rules in order to make creative discoveries. That's primarily their motive and their placement in this narrative. And because of that, they have a hugely profound impact, I believe, on Elvis Presley's life, because he himself is at an intersection of change. As I said, from coming from 7 or 8 year period of making sort of crappy movies and of the music industry changing so quickly and so prominently in that time, many bands coming to become popular, that he needs a change, and Binder and Bones are that change, and they're willing to really break barriers and put him on stage and have him talk about his life, which was something that hadn't happened before and something that the Colonel had not let happen before.
We had the most incredible prosthetics team and hair team, and Catherine Martin leading everything to do with everything that I wear in the film, and just an absolutely brilliant team of people coming together, and it helps massively. When you look in the mirror and you start to see the transformation, and it makes you feel different. It really does. Or if I have a little bit of weight on me, it makes you walk differently, and makes you breathe differently, and that in turn makes you truly feel different emotionally.
I really hope that people watching this movie will have a newfound respect for music, particularly for rock and roll and country music. I hope that they'll have a really good time watching it. I hope that they'll fall in and out of love with everybody in the cast. I think all of these characters are deeply flawed, which is a really special aspect to this. I think it's really great that we're telling these deeply flawed sort of stories.
I hope they have a good time and connect to music that maybe they didn't know before, or have an experience where they get to see it through new eyes. Or I hope that they come out feeling more vibrant and hopeful.